Welcome back to Sound and Soul of the South. Charles Davis, Susie Cohen here with you. On this week's episode, we talked about it last week, what music tourism is. And this week, we're going to talk about the city of Macon. And why would we talk about the city of Macon when it comes to music tourism? Well, if you didn't know, our history is a little bit different from everybody else's, okay? I'm going to name three people for you. Otis Redding, Little Richard, and the Allman Brothers. I could stop talking about music at that point, and that would give us enough credibility. But those are just the three that started off. Susie, talk about what just having those three be out of this town meant for the music industry.
I feel like Macon is where there was a convergence of all the different styles of music. Something happened here that was magic, that when the Allman Brothers came up here playing their rock and roll, they were influenced by the soul. They were influenced by the blues, and it all just kind of came together. So I feel like with all the different influences that come from Macon, what came out of it was this legacy of music that has it has influenced each other's genres. And so I mean, I really, really feel like Southern rock, when we call music Southern rock, it's because it has a lot of soul and a lot of blues, and a lot of that was influenced from right here in Macon.
Well, I mean, you can almost call it Macon rock, but I'm not going to claim it like that. I mean, you could say Macon, I mean, because look at the brothers. But no, you have to, if you look at the influence that it had across the world, the Beatles idolizing Little Richard, Paul McCartney saying he screamed like he did because of Little Richard, and the other influences, the Otis Reddings, how, the Rolling Stones absolutely idolized Otis Redding. Like I said, music history is so tied to this town that it's not even funny, and it does position us uniquely in this conversation because we have the credibility, not just in the past, but in what's been done in the past recent years with your Jason Aldeans, with Young Jeezy, with Travis Denning, with a lot of the bands that have come out of this town. It's not just the past, it is also current as well. And we're going to dive into all of those things here in a bit with Marisa Rodgers from Visit Macon and talk about how they're uniquely promoting that history to serve their music tourism. So stay around. Hey there, and welcome back to Sound and Soul of the South. Charles Davis here, Susie Cohen here. And this is a conversation I really don't think I have to be in on because I've got two besties on the show together. So I'm going to get out of the way. Susie and the great Miss Marisa Rodgers from Visit Macon is here. And y'all have a more shared history than just the work side. So I'm going to back up and kind of talk about the relationship that you two have.
Well, welcome, Marisa, to Sound and Soul of the South.
Well, thank you. Great to be
here. We're so happy to have you here. Charles mentioned it a little bit, but Marisa and I have worked together, or not actually worked together, worked around each other for quite some time because we're both from the great state of Arkansas.
Yes, originally, but 20-something years back.
Wow, I didn't know that.
We have a history.
Yeah, so I mean, it's fantastic that we can continue this conversation in a broader storyline, because now we're talking about the sound and soul of the South. So music tourism all around the South, not just Arkansas, not just Georgia, but it just seemed fitting that we start off our first episode of Sound and Soul of the South right here in Macon, and we feel like you're the best person to tell us about. Tell us about music tour. Well, let me back up. Let's start with, tell us a little bit about yourself, Marisa.
Oh, me personally?
Yeah.
I started my career in marketing with retail marketing. I did built stores from the ground up. I worked with Sam's Club division of Walmart. I have always been in marketing and loved marketing, but then when I kind of towed the line, I opened my own agency and supported a lot of clients on all levels. And I got involved in tourism because I was living in Hot Springs, Arkansas at the time, which is the top tourism destination in Arkansas. And when they became my client and I kind of got a taste of it, I was like, this is a fun area of business. And I kind of kept circling around it for quite some time, doing my own thing in Hot Springs. But then I made the leap over, and I haven't looked back since.
Well, ain't no wrong with that.
Well, I will say, I'm going to jump in here real quick. And sorry, Charles,
No, you're good,
talk
baby. No, you're
over you,
good.
but I need to say, that Marissa is the best marketing person I've ever worked with. So when we had the opportunity to work together again, I was like, heck yeah, because really and truly, I'm not. I've worked with a lot of different marketing people in tourism, and Marissa is just leaps and bounds ahead of the rest with being innovative and helping tell the story clearly of the place. So here in Macon, the fact that you lead with music tourism was what first uh, piqued my interest, to say the least.
Well, when I had the opportunity to even look at Macon as my next destination, I mean, and that's a big commitment to pick up your family and move somewhere. It was Macon that sold me because of all of these stories and the rich music history, and then the things that are on the horizon. There's an energy happening here, and the minute I talked to people, I knew that I needed to do that. And even though I haven't been here that long at all, but everything was already here. So that's the beautiful thing is like, yeah, we're creating things, but it's because of what was already here foundationally and being able to use it and tell better stories with it. Um, One of the first initiatives the minute I got here is we have these wonderful music markers all over Macon that tell the story of everything that's happened through this town and these streets and how they're so special because of what's happened through history. When it comes to the music story here, and there just wasn't a central place to go and do anything with that information. So that was like so easy. Like, oh, you've already got this, Macon. Great job. Let's now digitize it. Let's put it into an app. Let's get people where they can go experience it. And so that was like, I came here and it was all ready, and it's just been fun learning the stories the way that anybody else would, and trying to figure out how to tell them, and then continue to kind of lay the groundwork for the next steps, the big things that are about to
Yeah.
happen, and there's so many of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in that vein, with you working in tourism in other markets and now being here, what is it about making tourism that makes it unique from the rest of them that you've worked with so far?
I mean, my favorite thing is just that it's kind of under the radar. No, like I don't know how so much has happened here,
Yeah.
and
True.
still everyone's like,
Yeah.
Macon? I've never heard of
Yeah.
Macon. So I mean, that what a blessing to get in there before we're kind of back on the map, and be able to be the ones that's telling these stories. And then you've got obviously this huge amount of the population that's like, I've heard of it, I've seen it, I didn't know that was there. And that's pretty common in any destination, but Macon has so many special things that it's like, how did this go so under the radar for so long? But that's why it's special.
Yeah.
It is. It is special, that's for sure. So tell us more about when you got here, you talked about the markers. What else did you discover, or what else really piqued your interest that wasn't on the forefront?
I mean, it was just really all of the assets combined and the overall story and how everything intersects. Even the history that's going on with the Muskogee Creek Nation and with the Okmulgee Mountains Park potentially being America's next national park.
Yeah.
That storyline threads through to why we are such a music destination. They laid the groundwork for everything that was built here and the why, and understanding the layers of how did this happen and this happen. And it was just a beautiful perfect storm in the 60s and 70s of um, everything kind of culminating, and then just sadly, unfortunately, things happen.
Yeah.
But it's all still here. It's never gone. It's never left.
Yeah.
But it's reintroducing it and making sure that we have enough for people to do when they get here to experience all of that. Because it's great if they can hear about it from afar, but when they get here, they need to be completely immersed in all of those
Yes.
stories and the reason that they were even appealed to come here. And so it's been really working through like, what can we do to make sure that there's enough happening here, while you living in a destination like Macon, you hear the stories all the time. They can seem like they're getting a little drowned out, and I've heard that one too many times. But our visitors haven't, and
Yeah.
they are excited to come here and experience it the first time for themselves. And making sure that that kind of magic moment happens with everybody that comes to visit.
Well, you see that a lot, I believe, with the way y'all have the visitor center over at Visit Macon set up, because when you walk into that door, you have no choice but to be immersed into everything, like you were talking about, all the things that make making great. What are visitors saying when they get into the building? What are some of the bigger draws that when you have visitors walking into the center, they're what you could almost call their non-negotiables, the stuff that they have to experience when they get here?
I mean, our visitor center is set up kind of like a mini museum, and that's intentional so that while we're even busy with other customers, checking out the great merch and everything else, they can look and see, oh, that story happened here. Wow, I didn't know about that. But the main sites that you got to hit are typically music related. Of course, we always point them toward the Mulgy Mounds, Hay House, the amount of architecture and historic properties here in Macon. There's more than anything on the there are more properties on the National Historic Registry in Macon than there are in Savannah or Charleston.
Yeah, and that's
And
huge.
who knew?
Yeah,
Yeah. And so like we can tell all those stories, but what they're usually coming for is they want to do those kind of music experiences. And if you're a fan of Little Richard, then there are things that you can go do. There are sites that are still exist that tell his story, and we still need more. We need way
yeah,
more.
yeah,
But then we have Otis, which of course Otis Redding started something and he was taken far too soon, and his family has continued to build it here. And it's just so special, especially the new Center for the
yeah,
Arts. It's not a building you need to go in. You just need to stand outside of and realize that his legacy led to that development and this youth education and getting to take your picture in front of the statue,
yeah,
which just is newly
yeah,
relocated there. But all of those stories, there's a way to travel through and experience it, as much as you want by each of these artists, but then especially the Allman
yeah,
Brothers, because that's an entire pilgrimage of its own, where we can take you through, where they started, where they ate, where they, wrote their songs, where they were inspired. I mean, you name it. So that's really what they're wanting to come do is tell me what I need to go do it in what order. We
yeah.
could be like, yeah, we're here to help. So.
Well, and on that note, let's talk about the Music Pass and the app.
Yeah, well, I mean, we, developed the app so that you could do a self-guided tour experience of all of these markers, these sites throughout town, but also maybe a few hints of other places to sneak in while you're here that may not have a marker, but that pertain to our Macon Music Trail. So we did that first. We also have we own Rock Candy Tours, so we have as many. If you have a tour in mind that you'd like to see, we probably have it for
Yep.
you. There's African American Music Experience, which is a tour through the African American music history in Macon, but also gets you off of that bus or the little van you ride around in, and get to go inside the historic Douglas Theater, which has so many
Yes,
layers
it
of
does.
history and connects to Otis and Little
Hmm.
Richard. And then you can get out and go inside the Otis Redding Museum. So that's a kind of already put together for you way to experience a little bit more. But then we also offer a music attraction pass, which the reason that even exists is if you're going to come here, you probably want to do all of the
Yeah,
music locations. So why not just buy one pass instead of having to go in every place and pay a fee and purchase it? That money still goes back to those centers. Like we're not taking away a
yeah. It
dime
just helps
from
out the consumer.
the. Yeah, it just helps it make it easy for you. Buying a VIP attraction pass, and you walk right in
Yeah,
to what all of those experiences. But our website, visitmacon.org, is just full of itinerary ideas and ways to plan your trip around whatever direction you want to go. But of course, we are a forgotten music city, so we're gonna tell you our music story for sure.
well, no, and that's important because that leads right into the thing with Visit Macon. It feels like there is a big priority on making sure that people understand the history and the things that have happened in this town. But why do you also think that Visit Macon is doing the things that it's doing to promote the music that is happening in town right now, and why it is as important as doing it for the music history that has been here?
I mean, again, we are a music city, whether, the big ones believe it or not. There's so much happening here. With Capricorn Records reopening, there's modern day recording happening, and there's a full service offering to musicians to record here, play in our historic venues where so many other people have gotten their start, like Grant's Lounge, Capitol Theater, Grand Opera House. All of those places are special with music history, both in Macon and, of course, nationally. And if you're an artist, you get to come here, and we're going to take you through everything you can possibly do to we've started really adapting the idea of we're a musician city. We may not be the music city, but we are a musician city, because that's what we are here to do is get you recording in those hallowed halls, and then give a musician who understands the importance of these places the chance to go do it all and say, I was there and I did that. And that's really special, and obviously continues to promote what we've got here to modern art audiences everywhere.
And go to H&H and get all inspired.
Yeah, no, you see that. I know I always use, like, the prime examples that I use of that whole thing is Brent Cobb. I use him forever in this because he recognizes what this town has to offer. And just from starting to do a couple of recordings down at Capricorn Sound Studios when he recorded his Southern Star album, the first album he did down here, he now brings so many people down to record at Capricorn. He started a festival in this town now, and just allowing the history of the town to be as relevant as the present and the future, with artists as big as him, recognizing just how special this town is with that. So that is a very, very cool thing.
Absolutely.
South of Atlanta Fest is great.
Oh, yeah, it's a great festival. Yeah. Absolutely great.
Amazing partner for us.
Yeah.
And that's another example of, we got him into Piedmont Brewery, and he brewed a beer as part of the overall package. Like, we can do so much if we all work together in this town. And it's created some amazing special experiences for the musicians and for the guests who are coming down to celebrate those musicians.
Very true.
That's right. So let's talk about the Bibb Theater. You mentioned Rock Candy Tours.
Mm-hmm. Well, the home to a great many things when it opens, really. Visit Macon, it's been a long ride, and why we've done everything that we've done in the order that we've done it in. But, we purchased Rock Candy Tours because it was developed by Jamie and Jessica Walden, Jamie Weatherford and Jessica Walden, who built it after the Music Hall of Fame closed down here in Macon, and they wanted to make sure that there was something else offered to visitors to experience, and local, to experience all those stories. And they ended up, it being a great success for them, but they were just two people, and both have exceptional careers happening on the other side of it. And so they were just it was too busy. And then the most requested piece was group travel. So being able to step on to we have a large bus coming into town. We want someone to step on and guide us through these locations in town. And they just couldn't facilitate it that much, but that's what we do at Visit Macon. We've had our own tours. We've done a lot of different things. So it was really natural for us to be like, okay, we want to take what you've built and we want to continue it because it's vital. And so that's how we got into the Rock Candy Tours business. And it's helped us broaden a lot of our marketing offerings at different times of the year because we took that swing. Yeah. But then at the same time that we're working on that, we're also working on, when you come to Macon, you need to be able to experience the music, and you can find live music in Macon 7 nights a week. Yeah, you can. But you're not. It's not as easy to find someone who's explaining that historical story, all that music that came up, the deep cuts of Capricorn, and so of course we invested in the Macon Music Review.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that.
I know, but that was intentional because we needed that preservation hall style experience where you could rest assured if you came here, you could go experience that music. Now, unfortunately, you've been gotten too popular for your own good. Now we can't have that weekly, but
Yeah.
that was so good while it was good.
Yeah, it was 3 years. We did
Now,
that 3 years, man.
yes,
Wow, I didn't realize
Yeah,
it went on 3
yeah.
whole
I
years.
just not trying to
Every
step on.
Wednesday night at
Yeah,
Grants.
yeah. Not trying to step on Marissa's toes there, but yeah, no. The residency that we did at Grant's Lounge for 3 years really solidified, and it's like Marissa said, you could have came into Grant's any week on a Wednesday night, and if you wanted to get a taste of what the history of making music was, just come to the show. Um, that's what we're there for. And as I've always said, Marissa, no matter how big we've gotten, Macon is home. Grants is home turf for us because it's where, like you said, legends have played, but it is where
right.
the community, took us in their wings and kind of helped make us the band that we are right now to where we can go places and spread, as Susie likes to say, spread the good gospel of Macon, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
throughout the nation. And it's getting to that point now, and it is a big part to Visit Macon for helping us to do that.
But it was also so intentional. I mean, after you guys started getting your groove together, the adding the storytelling element, being able to make a completely, I mean, nobody understands that they're getting a marketing,
Yeah,
that they're
true,
getting
true.
marketed, and yet they are, because there's
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
storytelling, and it all comes back to these locations and these things to do here in Macon. So that's why we did it, is to get you on the road, out of Macon,
yeah,
and to tell that story, to bring people here. And we're just getting started with that point. I
yeah.
mean, it feels like y'all are busy now. I think it's going to continue.
From what I've seen from my schedule, it doesn't stop. But it is, like I said,
Yeah.
it is a great thing. Like I said, at this recording, y'all see I'm wearing a Colorado hat. It is literally things like that we've been able to go places and talk about Macon, and to hear audiences say, "Oh my God, I forgot that all this music came out of the one spot." And I think that goes back to what you were saying originally, Marissa. People don't think they know about Macon. You know about Macon. You just haven't
Hmm.
had somebody connect the dots for you, tie all the threads together to make you go, "Oh yeah, Macon is kind of a city that I need to make a run through real quick."
Yeah, absolutely. But all that, long
Yeah,
story short, is we've been building all these different things because we know we have bigger things we know we have big things coming in Macon. We've got legislation happening to be the next national park, which is this influx of visitation that we've got to get ready for. And part of our job at Visit Macon is that destination management, destination readiness, making sure that the offerings are here, the ease of finding how to go find all these assets is here. So that's what we're doing, is we're trying to get ready for, when the lightning finally strikes,
yeah,
and we kind of go over that tipping point of, we are a visitor economy now. Like, this is
That's
who
right.
we are. um but that's kind of, if we're going full circle, that all comes back to the
yeah,
Bibb, because
Yep.
when when we decided to kind of go all in on this, on music is at the heart of everything. No matter what we build here, no matter what we do, music, there is a connective tissue of music in everything. Even our sports arenas, these huge amphitheaters,
yeah.
everything comes back to that music history. It's what gives us our specialness. It's the truly authentic piece of Macon that, no one else can have but us, because that's not something you can just
No,
build.
you can't.
Um,
That's right.
so, being able to take that and go, okay, what's the next step? And that's when we kind of had the opportunity of the Creek, FM, the local radio station that I know we're all here for. In a uh, that's how that happened. Is it fell into our laps, and we're like, well, okay, look at these numbers. The Creek has been around for 10 years, and it's connected with audiences as they've been driving through on the interstate. If maybe they were from Macon and have moved off, like, the numbers are that it's not just Macon listening to that
Mm-hmm,
terrestrial radio.
mm-hmm.
It's people tuning in. And why are, what are they tuning in for? And At the same time that we were building the Grants Lounge and making music reviews, experiences, and everything, we were also looking at, well, we've got this tool in town. What can we do with it? And thanks to you guys, long before Visit Macon was involved, we started this idea of digital placemaking and telling the story of the place as like a digital neighborhood.
Yeah.
That was the Lisa Love comment of it all, which I know you've talked to Lisa.
Love Lisa.
It was, how do you make people connect with Macon and feel like they're part of it and here when they're somewhere else, just streaming it, just listening to the music. And so we, it fell into our laps, the opportunity to invest in that as well. And we did. Yeah. And now every step we've taken is building to this Bibb Theater, which is the building we now get to curate completely for ourselves. That gives us a visitor center that's right downtown where people can pop in and buy merchandise, and but also see the creek live on the air, telling our story, globally. It's saying what's happening here in Macon, but an intimate listening room where we can have some really special events, rock candy tours. Doing during the tours out of there, instead of having to borrow locations to start and finish our tours, we now will have a spot. Maybe you can grab you an alcoholic beverage before going on the tour. I mean, it's going to be all the fun in one building.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. No, having the new home for the Creek be at the Bibb Theater, one of the, as you say, you talked about the architecture in this town, and the Bibb Theater was one of those places that was a bit forgotten and hadn't been used in forever. And thanks to Visit Macon for coming in and taking that building and giving it a new life, giving it a place where it's kind of makes sense about the city, recognizing the history, preserving it for the future as well. So it's a great thing between.
Yeah, but that's the other beautiful part of Macon is it's not just Visit Macon. Newtown Macon, who is responsible for our downtown, corridor, and helped invest in properties and preservation, as well as getting business in our downtown spaces. They were the ones that owned the building and said, what are we going to do with it next? And what better way to enhance the story of everything we're doing than to give it a home that's street level, and visitors can stop by and experience it too, not just hear about it, but see it. And
that's right.
And that's what we're why we're very excited about that.
Oh, should be.
Yeah. Yeah. One more music tourism attraction right here in downtown Macon.
I love it. Exactly. Gotta love it.
So when we're talking about music tourism in the South, what makes Macon so important to that storyline?
I mean, it's hard to think about music history and not include Macon. So, but also the locations in the South, you've got to think we weren't as connected, historically as we are now. True. And there was a vital connection between Macon and Muscle Shoals and Memphis, and that's all the Southern experience. And it's because of everything that was happening in the nation with music. And so Macon has just always been a part of it, I guess. But also, in general, it is the Southern experience. It's as far back as the Muskogee Creek and them being driven off their lands and what was taken, what was left, and the African American culture that came next because they were trying to find their footing in the South in a place where things were not.
Yeah, no, they weren't good
easy.
For them. Yeah.
But they were in music, they were telling their stories and they were getting all of that out. So it's literally been thousands of years of musical documentation about the Southern experience. And because we're located in the South, it's just, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's different experiences everywhere. I think that, you're not going to talk music without talking Motown and Detroit, and it happens everywhere. But there's something very special about the Southern experience because it is so authentic to what has been happening culturally and politically and everything throughout history. So it just seems natural that some of this that came out of Macon is because of all that. I mean, look at the Allman Brothers, just the Allman Brothers, an integrated band that couldn't go eat at restaurants together because of what they chose, who they chose to be friends with. But also the fact that they brought the music to Muscle Shoals that they did first, and crossed boundaries that were kind of unheard of at the time. that all happened because Macon was a weird, very forgiving town. I guess it
Yeah,
had a special quality of music uniting everyone that maybe some other locations in the South did
very
not.
true.
And they were able to, go share a plate of food at the H&H and become lifelong friends
Yeah,
with the owners there, and all those things we always tell you to experience when you come to Macon. I mean, that was part of the Southern experience. That was what was happening during that time of segregation, and um, it's all there. It's all part of the threads of
yeah,
stories
true.
that
Yeah.
we're still telling.
Yeah, no, it's a
And you can hear it in the
yes, you can.
music.
You can.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm so glad you said it that way, Marissa. It is the fact of the South has had so many traumatic things that have happened, and with the groups that suffered most of that trauma, the way they expressed themselves was through the music. And crazy enough, that music has stood the test of time and has led to the creation of what people consider American music sounding like. I always say it when normally I always say it when I'm on stage with the review is that you Macon has to me per capita more music history than pretty much any other town. When you talk about the biggies, Macon has so much of a percentage of that. When you talk about Richard and Otis and the brothers, you talk about James Brown recording his first song here. You talk about Jimi Hendrix being in this town. Like you can't talk about American music without talking about Macon music, and that's what makes it so great for, like I said, not only the past but the future of this community. Now, for people who are listening to the pod, watching the pod, if they go, "Oh my God, I have to get to Macon. I have to find out all the things that are going on." Marissa, how can they go about finding out more information about coming to Macon and having a good time?
Well, the best place to start is our website, visitmacon.org, but also any social channels. Just go look for Visit Macon, and that's what we're doing 24/7 is trying to tell you the story of what there is to do here, why it's worth your time. Um, and the why Macon. I think that once you really dive into what all's here, you realize exactly what you just described, Charles. That there's so much that's from here you don't even realize. Now that doesn't diminish the other towns
No,
that have their
no.
own legends from their history, but in a weird way, everything that has happened in history comes back in some way and connects to
Mm-hmm.
Macon. And that's why it's just really special that when we really start following threads of these artists that weren't from here, but somehow, like you just mentioned, James
Yeah,
Brown, he from
yeah.
Augusta, and they are doing a great job telling his story. But he was part of that he was drawn here because of what was
Mm-hmm.
happening, and that's what ended up giving him his first chance to record, and that was here in Macon. um, but then he went back and he developed his own
Yeah.
hometown, and that's what's really exciting, I think, about this podcast is everything kind of comes, connects with us, but we wouldn't be what we are either without everybody else's
Very true.
stories, creating the perfect fabric of just music tourism.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, it's absolutely great.
But definitely anything you can check out with us, it's out there. Visit Macon. We've done everything we could to make sure that whatever, however you want your information, you'll find us if you just kind of say those words. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Macon, Georgia.
yeah. Marissa Rodgers from Visit Macon. Thank you so much for taking the time and doing this, and thank you for all the work that you all and everybody over at Visit Macon is doing to tell the story of Macon.
I mean, it's too fun not to. So we'll keep doing it.
Appreciate you. Okay, we want to thank Marissa Rodgers from Visit Macon for coming on and talk to us. Susie, that was a great conversation, especially learning about what tools they're actually using to promote the city.
I mean, it's so unique. There's nothing else like this going on in the world. And I say that with confidence because music tourism has been my passion for the past decade and a half. And the music history is alive here in Macon. So for their tourism office to recognize that, invest in Rock Candy Tours, invest in the Creek radio station. One of the coolest things about the radio station is that they're going to protect it as a radio
Yeah.
station. There's no, corporate moguls in the situation telling us what to play, telling us what to do. We have direct orders from above to broadcast the Macon experience 24/7 and use music to tell our story. So, that is a very unique and amazing opportunity to mark this time and place. So not only are we talking about music history, we are making music history right now here in Macon. And I love that so much that's what brought me here. We've talked a little bit about me being from Arkansas. You can see my Arkansas crystal right behind me. I'm very much an Arkansas girl. But when the opportunity arose to come to Macon and work with Creek Media to talk about our music heritage, talk about our music in general, the legacy. I always talk about our legacy because it's the influence of the past that has brought us to where we are today. And you can go to Grant's Lounge on Wednesday nights and go to the jam and see that it's alive and well. And it was funny because Marisa brought up the Macon Music Review. They used to have the residency at Grant's Lounge, and it was about 3 years ago I came here, and I said, I want to see live music. And she said, oh, we do that on Wednesday night at Grant's with the Macon Music Review. And I thought, oh, that's absolutely genius. To know for visitors that come to town, for conventions that come to town, for groups that come to town, to be able to say, oh, you want to hear our music? Head on over to Grant's Lounge on Wednesday night. And so you can still do that. Even though the music review is not there every Wednesday night, they do have the weekly jam. And it's wonderful to just see that music is alive and well here in Macon. And so there again, we're talking about the history. And I also love to tell the story of you can be standing in one spot at the alley right behind our building, and you can see the plaque where the restaurant where Greg Allman proposed to share. And then you can turn around and see the spot where Little Richard was arrested for prostitution.
Yes, you can. It's right there.
So, it's very colorful history.
It is. Being with the Creek for over 10 years now, and being a part of the Macon Music Review, thanks to Visit Macon for putting that together. It is one of the best things that I can say in my life that, like, I take being an ambassador for this town very seriously, because, like I said, it's not only preserving it for the people that don't know about it, but it's introducing it to an entirely new generation of people.
That's right.
This music is not just for the old heads, as people might want to think. We have so many young fans of the music in this town, and that's important to have that. It's important to instill that, because without that, it will become forgotten. It will become a forgotten music city. And I'm so glad that it is organizations like that in this town that allow us to continue to push that. And we will talk about that, about this city, and we'll talk about that with all the other cities that we talk to, what they are doing to preserve that. But I will say this, don't sleep on Macon. I mean, we've got places for you to sleep, and that's great. Plenty of hotels for you to sleep. But don't sleep on Macon. We got a lot of stuff going on that you might want to be involved with. So thank you so much for being here with us. Until next time, Charles Davis, Miss Susie Cohen. We will see you all next time. Sound and Soul of the South is a podcast by Creek Media, hosted by Charles Davis and Susie Cowan. This episode is presented by Visit Macon. The show is produced and edited by Big Hair Productions. Follow us on social media at streamthecreek.com. Engage with us, like, subscribe, share with a friend. Be sure to stream this and more podcasts that you will love at streamthecreek.com.